Hello everybody and welcome to a happy video because Newcastle have came away tonight 2-0 victors at Selhurst Park. Yes, hello everybody, this is the last word. I'm doing this on the mobile tonight because it's late. We're trying to get videos out as quickly as possible, but Newcastle came away from south of London with a snatch and grab win, you might say, but we didn't care. We're going to hear from Matt on the formation change a little bit later in today's video, but this is the last word. This is the wrap up of all the videos tonight, so I hope you have been enjoying the coverage. We're changing coverage for next week's video with Aston Villa, so keep an eye out for that. Later on in the week we'll explain that. But yeah, let's crack on. But let's take a look at the home side, Selhurst Park, of course, without their big star man, Wilfried Zaha. But they still had a couple of tricky players in Ayew and Eze. But surprisingly, they had a left back, Jeffrey Schlupp, up top. And when you've got Batshuayi and Benteke on the bench, yeah, it's a little bit worrying, isn't it? For whoever's having a left back, a little bit worrying. Palace have always had problems with goal scorers, but obviously Andros Townsend, a former Magpie, was playing as well. But Newcastle, of course, there was one player with coronavirus. We think it's one of 4 players now, but Alan Saint-Maximin wasn't available, Jamal Lascelles wasn't available, Isaac Hazen wasn't available, and Emil Kraft. So I think it's one of those 4 have got coronavirus. But Ryan Fraser was out injured. But he went with Wilson. Just a change, man. Callum Wilson makes so much difference to Newcastle's lineup. But the most important thing was changing back to 4 at the back. It's so much difference. I think Newcastle, even if we drew 0-0 tonight, I think it still was a much better performance than it has been. Look, I don't think it's perfect and we still can go up a few gears, but it's so much better tonight. Much better, but I still feel there's 1 or 2 gears that we can go. But the match, I thought, was very even until we scored the goals later on. First half, Darlow was forced into a couple of saves. Joelinton had a few shots. Remember Peter Drury saying that Joelinton's had the most shots in the first 25 minutes than he's had all season. He was putting himself about. He wasn't great, but it was like, bloody hell, who's this? Who's this Brazilian? So we went into the break. It was 0-0, but thinking, it's going to be a boring 0-0. This isn't it Friday night. It's not what you want. And then, a second half, we've seen Wilson's header just over. Darlow was forced into 1 or 2 other saves as well. And you think yourself, it's going to end 0-0. And Roy Hodgson was pushing players forward. He brought on Benteke, he brought on Batshuayi. He was going for it. He didn't want to draw. Roy Hodgson, difference between the 2 managers there. Because I think we've snatched and grabbed it, where Hodgson was just chucking at it. And it obviously backfired because they've lost the game. And Newcastle went down the other end. I've got to talk about Joelinton because the way he held that ball up and played in Callum Wilson was brilliant. He deserves a lot of praise, and I was a little bit disappointed that he was getting criticised in the Quick Thoughts video that I did earlier, because the lad was my best player tonight. And I think when someone's played well, despite him not being a great player, you've got to say, well, wait a minute, he's played well tonight, and he has. For me, he's man of the match. He's man of the match. That's his best performance in Newcastle shirt, without a shadow of a doubt. He was brilliant tonight. Yes, he didn't do everything perfect, but tonight he was Newcastle's best player for me. Brilliant performance by the Brazilian. We need to see more of it. The way he played in. And then when Callum Wilson tonight, when he ran through and goal slapped home, I had every faith he would score. Obviously, a little bit, I was half celebrating because I didn't know whether he was offside or not, but replays showed that he was on. But Callum Wilson held the ball up very well tonight. Movement up top. Still, little things, little differences, man. Please, Bruce, keep playing 4 at the back, man. But we scored shortly after, and Joelinton, a little bit deflection. It's his goal. I've seen a couple of people saying it's an own goal. It's not. It was his goal. Delighted for him. Absolutely buzzing for him because he's gone through some shit, and I've criticised him, and other people have criticised him on social media, and this channel has itself given massive stick because he deserved that stick. But he got his goal tonight, and like I say, he was brilliant tonight. I'm not overhyping. That was his best performance tonight, although it's not a 10 out of 10. That's good for Joelinton. Is it good for Newcastle? No, because we'll have to have it week in, week out. But Newcastle came away and snatched it with a 2-0 victory. But hey-ho, we're in the top 10 temporarily. It's mad football because the last 2 or 3 games we've been like, oh, this football's awful. And like I say, I still feel it has another gear to go, 1 or 2 gears. We still need, bodies back. We still need Fraser back on that side for me. We still need Alan Saint-Maximin playing in his correct position. I asked Matt to send in a clip on the formation. What should we play going forward? Matt?
Yeah, it was a change of formation from a back five or a back three into a back four, with a flat back four tonight and a 4-4-2 formation for Steve Bruce. We've obviously struggled in the past couple of games with a back five, but it looked a bit tighter at the back today. We didn't really struggle too much with Palace, not that they're the most attacking team anyway, but with Clark and Fernandez as two solid centre-backs, you can rely on them in a back four. Lascelles can have a bit of an off game here and there, but with those two we can really rely on them. And Jamal Lewis and Javier Manquillo both coped really well as full-backs rather than wing-backs, because they had the defensive cover of the midfielders in front of them, with Hendrick and Almiron dropping back to provide cover when it was needed. So it looked a bit more expansive, it looked a bit more attacking than the past few games. We created a lot of chances in the first half, especially through Joelinton, and obviously it's paid dividends in the end, obviously coming away with all 3 points, which nobody would have expected even after 85 minutes today. So hopefully going forward we should move away from the wing backs back to a simple 4-4-2 or maybe a 4-3-3 if the game suits. But I think Steve Bruce, after today's performance, will stick with that back four as opposed to the back five. It will be interesting though to see which personnel fit into that back four, whether he's going to stick with Clark and Fernandez when Lascelles comes back, or if the captain retakes his place in the team. So we'll keep an eye on that going into the next couple of games.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Okay, so we'll obviously get reaction, of course, but due to copyright reasons, we can't play video in case it runs the risk, of course. So here is reaction from the Toon Camp.
Up to play in England and play in the Premier League, sometimes you need time. Some people take to it straight away, but certainly in Joe's case, with the price tag, the number 9 of Newcastle, at times, last year in particular, he found it a struggle at times, but the kid wants to do well. You know, he's had about 4, 5, 6 opportunities tonight, and he can improve in that, that's for sure. But starting to see a bit of Joe with his overall contribution and his strength, so I'm pleased for him.
I feel when a chance arises in front of goal, I'm confident to put it away. I come on my left side today. I see the goalie rushing out, and we've been working on it where he's going to come a little bit. He's trying to put it through his legs, to be honest. A bit scruffy, but they'll count, and add another one to the tally. And thankfully, Joe got on the score sheet as well, which is nice.
And there you have it. That is it. That is the last words. Let us know what you think, of course. Happy, of course. Look, it could have went either way. It could, but we've got a clinical striker and I said Christian Benteke there in Callum Wilson, whereas they haven't. That's why, but he didn't start the night, did he? Maybe it's not as good as Wilson, but I delighted that we've snatched the win. The way we finished it and grabbed it was brilliant feeling. It's what you live for football, them moments where you just go wild and celebrate. Because at the end of the day, Palace will probably feel a lot hard done by, and I generally feel it was a draw was fair, but we came away not just with 1, with 2, and we've done it before. And people say that Bruce is lucky, but you kind of keep doing it, be lucky, I guess, in one aspect, but it'll catch up with you. But I think the performance has got to continue, because we've got a nice little run of games coming up now where you think these teams are going to be either around us or just below us, where we've got to start picking up points, mate, because we've got plenty of good players. You cannot kid yourselves, because you look at saint-maximin, Miguel Miron, Fraser, Wilson, there's a 4. That front 4 is a top 10. They should chip in a lot more goals, except from Wilson, but yes, generally speaking. But yeah, happy with that we've won, but cautious, I'll probably describe that. Let us know what you lot think. Ta-ra, everyone.